All right, in just a few minutes, the Congressional Black Caucus is planning a march in Washington to protest the recent police shootings of African-American men.
We have been covering, of course, the violent protests that broke out overnight in Charlotte, North Carolina after police shot and killed Keith Lamont Scott, a man there. North Carolina's governor has declared a state of emergency, said he was going to bring in the National Guard to restore order. Let us bring in right now Ohio Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, a member of the Congressional Black Caucus. Congresswoman, thank you so much for your time. Do want to get your take. Members of the Congressional Black Caucus, you will be marching to the Department of Justice to demand more. What more do you demand?
Yes, we're going to march today to the U.S. Department of Justice because we know that we can no longer just have community meetings. We can't be silent. So today is to let the American public know that we want to make sure that the U.S. Department of Justice is engaged. We want to have independent investigations going into these communities so we take away all doubt or perceptions of the biases. We're losing too many lives, too many African-American boys, men, and girls are being killed, and it's an epidemic. And this is our first way of saying that the Congressional Black Caucus wants America to know that we are going to be fully engaged, not only in North Carolina, but in Ohio, in Tulsa, all across the United States.
Congresswoman, we heard from the police chief in Charlotte who says at this point he has no plans to make public the video of the incident where Keith Lamont Scott was killed. Do you think that's a good idea? How much transparency is needed in this investigation?
I think right now we can't do business as usual. Right now the country is in an uproar and we have an epidemic. I think transparency is of the utmost. I understand the legalities. I understand that you have to have a full investigation. The families are asking people to be nonviolent, to make sure that we don't get anything in the way that will prevent us from getting to the truth. But I think we have to be transparent. I think right now America is in an uproar. African-American leaders, African-American communities are begging for help. This must stop and we must be fully engaged. We have to be on the same page with the law enforcement, with the legal community, and with the grassroots community. We no longer can have isolated groups speaking without us being united.
As you mentioned, being on the same page, at this point, do you not trust the Charlotte police to handle this investigation? Do you not trust the investigation that's going on right now?
I don't think it's only the trust issue. I think it is the appearance of fairness. If this were our only case, but when you repeatedly have 13-year-olds, 20-year-olds ending up at the end of a gun, whether it is African-American to African-American, whether it is a white police officer to a 13-year-old, we can't just say we're going to do what we did 4 years ago or 5 years ago. We must be in this together and we must be fully transparent.
Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, thank you so very much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I want to make sure we tell